Hey guys, Daniel Alexander here. I'm here at Lake Fayetteville with my beautiful partner in love, Jordan Green. We just went for a bike ride. Isn't she adorable? And yeah, we're here pondering life, enjoying this lake here, and I thought I would stop and do a little video. I haven't really thought out what I'm going to say, and I think that's the best way to do it. That way it's kind of fresh off, you know, off the receiver, so to speak. So, the topic I want to talk about is how to think. It's a big topic, and I'm not going to cover it all, but what I want to address is really ways in which we as a society have kind of forgotten how to think, you might say, right? So I just saw this beautiful mushroom. Looks like an edible one, a bolete, for those who might know mushrooms. Anyways, in our society, through our public school systems, through just the mass onslaught of propagandized information, we're trained to think in a very regimented, kind of fractionalized information based way, right? And we don't get a lot of this abstract pattern recognition, or just what you might call the right brained thinking, right? As a society, as a world consciousness, we are very left brained in our thinking, right? We are very focused on the mathematics, the language, the logic, right? But we haven't learned how to really balance that out with the ability to connect those dots, to see the patterns, and to think in abstract ways. And so, what that means, I guess, is, not only kind of processing. So, for instance, when you receive information from your environment, be it from another individual, from a natural environment such as this, or from even the television or the internet, you can memorize that information. You can hold those bits of information in a certain pattern, in a certain organization in your mind, and then you can regurgitate that information, at hand whenever the moment calls for that. Or you can take in that information and process it and organize it in a way in which it builds upon a foundation, right? So a lot of people, they enjoy regurgitating information. They enjoy memorizing facts. Side note, it's fun to ponder what a fact really is, what possibly could be, information that is 100% unrelative to any perspective. So think about that one. But anyways, so we have these people who like to share facts and share, their memorized information. And to me, what's important is this ability to, again, build a foundation to process information. So what do I mean by that? Every once in a while I like to kind of quote the Bible or other, ancient spiritual texts. I like to find the gems in them all. And the Bible, it does have some wisdom in it, especially the New Testament. And so one of the things that I appreciate is this idea of building on the rock, right? And so, the parable or whatever it is that when you build upon the rock instead of building upon the sand, right, you have this solid foundation. Your house will not crumble. And so people who are just, memorizing facts and trying to have an understanding, you know, by just through this kind of web of memorized packets of information are lacking in foundation. It's like having a bunch of grains of sand and trying to support your house, support your consciousness, support your awareness, your perspective upon that fractionalized, divided mass of information. And so, rather than doing that, I think it's important for us to, yes, take in the information, but to process it and organize it in a way in which all of that information is kind of supporting, self-supporting, you might say, or let me just connect it with something in nature, a natural metaphor, you might say. I'm looking for a good one. Basically, trees, right? Trees are a beautiful kind of metaphor for understanding these things. So your web of mental information should look like a tree, right? It should have a foundation, and then from that foundation, it should branch outward. And so all these little bits of information should connect and reflect each other to form this kind of grander pattern of awareness, this sort of gestalt state of perception, you might say. So, in terms of a foundation, it's not that there is any one singular foundation to have, but it is important to have a certain organizing essence to your consciousness. And again, I feel like I could talk for a while on these things, and I want to wrap it up because this video is getting long. But I'll just say it's good for us to really step back and to see the totality of our reality, the totality of our awareness, right? And I know, well, what does that really mean, the totality, right? How is that really possible? But at least striving towards that state of awareness, right? Striving towards a state where when we look out into the world, we're not just seeing the bits and pieces, right? But we're seeing the interrelated, fractalized flow of information, right? That everything is connected, that there is a pattern, that there is a consistent unfolding expression of infinitude into this reality. So I know I kind of went all over the place, but again, I think that's how I want to share, is just kind of flow with whatever comes to me, and I'm sure I'll talk more about this topic because it's a very important topic. This is how we begin to expand our understanding of our reality, right? Is through not just compiling the bits and pieces of information, but connecting and referencing those bits of information to each other in order to create a grander picture and a grander pattern. And so, just a quick little way to think of it, or something to think about, is, when you're trying to build a puzzle, right? You start with the edges and you start with the corners, and then you kind of work your way in. And so, in society and kind of mainstream science, and just society in general, everyone's looking, they're trying to well, some people aren't trying to understand, but those who are, some are trying to understand, but they're looking at all these pieces and they are trying to start from this kind of non-existent center, or however you want to say it. And so I would encourage everyone to step back and see that there is, in this case, the edges and the corners is the awareness of the grand pattern, that there is a pattern to things. And when you start seeing that pattern, then you can say, oh, this piece fits here and this piece fits here, and so on and so forth. And then you can begin to recognize even more clearly what doesn't fit. And that is really, in this day and age, in this society, something that is of great importance, is being able to recognize what doesn't make sense, right? What doesn't click with the big picture understanding of this world, or what doesn't harmonize with a peaceful coexistence. And that's really what we should all be after, if we are of a sane mind and and of a loving heart. So I'll leave it at that, and hopefully I'll talk to you guys soon.